We are counting down the top 10 most iconic snapshots of American teen life from the 70s and 80s, capturing how sunshine, friendship, new music, and bold trends shaped unforgettable summers. From spontaneous rituals that sparked instant beach communities to cultural waves that rewrote style and sound, each entry reveals a turning point in youth culture. Which trend laid the foundation for this golden era? Let's begin with number 10. On any given summer afternoon, the blast of a boombox turned a patch of sand into a pop-up party. Teens lugged these portable stereos down to the beach, cassette tapes stacked and ready. Each mixtape was a hand-picked soundtrack, sometimes with covers scribbled in marker, sometimes decorated with inside jokes or doodles. Passing a mixtape to a friend was not just about sharing songs, it was a badge of trust, a way to say, "This is who I am, and I think you will get it." The music set the mood for volleyball games, sunbathing, or just hanging out. By the mid-1980s, the volume sometimes sparked complaints, but for a generation, nothing said summer like the shared beat of a boombox echoing across the sand. By the late 1970s, surfboards on American beaches looked nothing like the heavy wooden planks from a decade before. Fiberglass shortboards took over, slicing board weight by half and making it easier for almost anyone to paddle out and catch a wave. Suddenly, surfing was not just for the strongest or the most experienced. It opened up to younger teens and newcomers. Sticker art and bold graphics exploded across these lighter boards, turning every ride into a personal statement. This wave of innovation did not just change the lineup, it brought a whole new crowd into the water, fueling the mainstream surf boom of the era. Skateboarding on the boardwalk in the early 1980s felt like rebellion on four wheels. Before big brands took over, teens built their own ramps out of scrap wood and swapped tips on how to shape decks or swap out trucks for smoother rides. Each board doubled as a blank canvas. Marker doodles, spray paint, and stickers from local bands or surf shops turned every deck into a personal badge. Sponsorships were rare, so the scene thrived on word of mouth and backyard competitions. These homemade skate spots became gathering places where style mattered more than winning and where creativity and community always came first. Sun-bleached afternoons on the sand in the 1970s brought a look that felt as effortless as the breeze. High-waisted swimsuits in earth tones, olive, rust, and faded gold set the mood, paired with loose tank tops or flowy skirts that caught every gust. Bell-bottoms and cut-off shorts mingled with bare feet, while beaded necklaces, peace sign pendants, and woven bracelets dangled from wrists and necks. Hair was long and wild, salt-tangled and sun-lightened, a nod to the last days of flower power. Makeup was almost an afterthought, if it appeared at all. Denim jackets might be patched with faded flowers or hand-drawn peace symbols, echoing the anti-establishment spirit that lingered from the decade before. The whole look spoke of freedom and a quiet rebellion, style that belonged to the beach, not the runway, and to the crowd, not the brands. By the early 1980s, the beach became a neon spectacle. Swimsuits blazed in electric pink, lime green, and highlighter yellow, cut higher at the hip, and paired with oversized sunglasses that seemed to cover half a face. Logo culture took off. Brand emblems splashed across tank tops and towels, each one a signal of status. Hair reached new heights too, teased and sprayed into gravity-defying shapes, catching every ray of sun. The arrival of MTV in 1981 electrified everything, turning music videos into fashion blueprints overnight. Teens raced to copy the looks they saw on screen, mixing bold patterns, chunky jewelry, and anything that popped under the sun. Every boardwalk stroll became a runway, with friends posing for photos in matching neon and high tops, ready to be remembered. This was not just a new look, it was a full-on celebration of being seen. Boardwalk arcades and amusement rides turned stretches of seaside into the ultimate teen meeting ground. Neon-lit game rooms drew crowds with the clang of pinball, the chirp of Pac-Man, and the promise of a handful of tickets exchanged for plastic rings or plush animals. These arcades weren't just about high scores. They were about who you played with, who you challenged, and who noticed you winning. Outside, the scent of popcorn and fried dough drifted from concession stands, while vendors hawked cotton candy and sodas to groups laughing in line for the Ferris wheel. Every ride and snack became a shared ritual, a small adventure before the next round of games. Evenings buzzed with energy as the lights blinked on and the boardwalk filled with friends, rivals, and summer crushes, all drawn together by the simple magic of play and chance. A line of convertibles and station wagons stretched along the edge of the sand, their trunks popped open and back seats piled with towels and snacks. For teenagers in the 1970s and the 1980s, a car was more than just a ride. It was a private clubhouse on wheels. Friends squeezed into back seats, windows rolled down, music drifting out, while the outside world faded away. Custom paint jobs, fuzzy dice, and bumper stickers turned each car into a personal signature. At drive-in theaters, couples found a little privacy, and whole groups gathered for double features, sharing popcorn and jokes as the sun set behind the giant screen. Tailgate parties turned parking lots into social hotspots, with teens gathering around open trunks, swapping stories and making plans for the night. The freedom of having wheels meant every evening held the promise of adventure, whether parked at the beach or cruising toward the next big hangout. As the sun dipped lower, the beach transformed into a living room without walls. Circles formed around bonfires, flames flickering against faces as stories and laughter carried on the breeze. Someone always brought a guitar, and mixtapes traded earlier in the day made their way into portable tape decks, filling the night with everything from Fleetwood Mac to early Madonna. Volleyball nets stayed up until the last light faded, with matches drawing crowds of friends and strangers alike, cheering, calling out scores, and diving for every point. Even after the final serve, the game lived on in memories and inside jokes. By the late 1980s, rollerblades joined the scene, neon wheels flashing past firelight as teens zipped up and down the boardwalk. The sudden popularity of inline skating led some towns to post safety signs and introduce helmet rules, but for most, it was just another way to keep the energy going. These rituals from dusk into night did not cost a thing, but they built bonds that lasted well beyond summer's end. School gyms across the country transformed into dance halls every few months, drawing teens in droves. In the late 1970s, disco ruled the playlist. Bee Gees and Casey and the Sunshine Band thumped from rented sound systems, and spinning disco balls scattered light across bell-bottoms and platform shoes. Gym walls were decked with metallic streamers, and the floor filled with clusters of friends perfecting the hustle or just swaying to the beat. By the early 1980s, the music changed. Michael Jackson's Billie Jean and Prince's 1999 replaced the disco anthems, and fashion followed suit. Sequin dresses gave way to bold colors, skinny ties, and ruffled shirts. Teens posed for photos in front of crepe paper arches, some clutching corsages, others flashing peace signs or the latest breakdance move. For those far from the coast, the school dance was the main event, a night to show off a new look, test out fresh moves, and feel a part of something bigger, all under the glow of gymnasium lights. A single beat dropped at a Bronx block party in the late 1970s, and nothing about teen life would ever be the same. Hip-hop started with DJs stringing extension cords out windows, spinning records for crowds that spilled into city parks and basketball courts. The Sugar Hill Gang's Rapper's Delight hit the charts in 1979, and suddenly rap was not just a local soundtrack, it was everywhere. By the early 1980s, breakdancers were spinning on cardboard along boardwalks from New York to California, their Adidas tracksuits and shell toe sneakers as iconic as the moves themselves. This was not just a new sound, it was a new look, a new language, a new way to claim space and identity. Teens traded tapes filled with rhymes, memorized lyrics that spoke to real-life struggles, and copied the style of LL Cool J, Run DMC, and the Beastie Boys. By the late 1980s, hip-hop had grown up alongside its fans. Public Enemy and NWA blasted out songs that tackled racism and street life head-on, turning every boombox and dance circle into a platform for truth-telling. The influence stretched far beyond music into fashion, slang, even the way teens walked and talked. More than any other movement, hip-hop rewrote the rules of what it meant to belong, to stand out, and to speak up. For a generation, it was more than a beat. It was a revolution that played out in every hallway, every boardwalk, and every summer night. Across all these rare moments, one truth emerges. The 70s and the 80s gave rise to a youth culture powered by genuine connection and shared experience. That pattern endures, reminding us that while trends change, the real magic is always in the memories we create together. Thanks for watching.